As we are back, we are live. Welcome to Heroes of the Horn, a Wheel of Time podcast. I am Sir Matt.
And I am Sir Ezra. And friends, we are here talking about the Wheel of Time, Season 1, Episodes 1 through 3. Just sort of a general discussion. We've had some time to sit back and watch it again and go through, look at some of the other features inside of Amazon. Just a lot to process, man. A lot going through our minds right now.
Yeah, man, we watched it last night. It dropped early. I've watched it twice now, all 3 episodes. Just the initial watch last night was just sheer excitement. It was just chaos. It was Lords of Chaos,
Whoa.
right? Amazon's just sitting there and they're just like, you know what? Let's just drop it. And it's like, wow, they're like the Lords of Chaos. And then it's like the internet was basically the fires of heaven because it's just burning up. Okay.
Yep.
But beforehand, we were curious. We were like, is it going to drop? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
My God, the shadow that was rising.
Was rising.
It was darkness. Yep. Okay. Yep. It was there. But you know what? We made it. Okay.
And now, Matt, we're on a great hunt for the Easter eggs, the hidden gems in these first 3 episodes. Just still a lot. I mean, like we did our initial kind of like, 20, 30 minute just discussion on the episodes and talked about them individually. But I am impressed. I'm still thoroughly impressed with what they've done and the emotion that I feel. The marketing went up. Things went crazy. It just kind of took off. And I think right now, I mean, again, it's Friday as we're recording this. Folks are sitting down tonight with their pizza,
watching it,
with their popcorn.
Right.
For me, it's Milk Duds, some coffee, maybe a cherry Coke. Right. And I just
it was pizza. It was pizza for me last night. I made DiGiorno. I figured it was the closest thing. Was it a false pizza? It's not delivery. It's DiGiorno.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like the false dragon of food. So dude, that's kind of where I was at.
I almost went to Taco Bell and said, "Can I have the tuatha on number 7?"
Yeah, okay. I'm still a little confused by that one. I mean, they were eating quesadillas. I mean, they they're travelers. That's what they do. They just travel and they're like, give me that number 7, right? Which is I think that's it, right? Isn't the number 7? Isn't the number 7 the Taco Bell? I think it's the number 7. It's a quesadilla and a taco, and I think you get a large drink, which I usually go with Mountain Dew.
Oh my God, they don't have the numbers up here.
Wow.
Taco, is it different at every place? Menu numbers. Come on now. Oh wait. Oh, here we got images. Man, the number 7 is that. You're right, man. That is.
I haven't been to Taco Bell in years, but that was my go-to.
That's the quesadilla.
Thanks, that's what they were having.
The on quesadilla. The
tuatha one, man.
Quesadilla. Oh my God.
Right. So yeah, it was good. As I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've watched it twice. I appreciate it more. Watching it last night when it dropped, there were some streaming issues. Like it was kind of stuttering there for me for a bit because I think it just came out and literally everyone's like refreshing the page, trying to get it to start. So I was able to watch it this morning on a better screen and everything. It was 4K. It was freaking great, right? Watched on my MacBook, which is probably the best screen I have in my house.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked great, crisp. Everything looks good. Each episode I feel like just gets better and better. Listening to some of the music again, listening to some of the scoring, loved it.
Yeah, it's great. I'm doing actually. I have another window open here. I'm just kind of clicking through. My gosh, episode 1.
It's crazy.
It might actually. So episode 3 is amazing, but episode 1 it just floors me because like there's so many little things. Rand and Egwene. I was talking to some of our listeners. I've been in. By the way, you can follow us over. Follow me at Womprat_2M. Hit me up with your thoughts. Follow Matt at Super Gains Bros. Hit us up if you're listening on the podcast. Come find us and tell us what you thought about this stuff, or send us a pigeon at thehornofvalir@gmail.com because we want to know what you're thinking. Because what I was hearing from folks is they were impressed, and again, this is not everyone. This is a small sampling, but with the Egwene Rand emotional kind of like the intimacy, right? It's like I don't know. You know how they hire intimacy coordinators for shows? I don't think those two needed
I
one.
don't know if they needed it.
I think that was real. Like,
I think it was too.
I think that really,
there was a connection.
There's a connection. Rumors started here. They're dating. No, just kidding. But, well, they were dating in Emmons Field, pledged to one another. So that was really cool. And then little things like this, right? Lan, right? Lan's getting into the hot tub, the not so hot tub.
He needed it warmer.
That was cool. Moraine, you using your power for something that trivial. You know what I mean? Is like, it could be warmer. It could be. And he's just staring down Moraine, and she's just looking at him, kind of like not really smiling, but like, okay, let me do this for my water. Like, I'll take care of him and magic this water a little bit.
Well, it's a good thing she did, because she needed him later.
She sure did. Absolutely. You know, that was big. Well, we did our change video. Like we did a 5 biggest changes or whatever. But buddy, one that I just thought of after we did that was Moraine. Like the big change in her arc. She is out for the count for like 2 episodes.
I will say, rewatching the fight scene this for the second time, man, it's really cool just how you get it, how, like, because the focus is such on Moraine, right, where she's like, you know, weaving and there's lightning and rocks flying everywhere. You actually sort of miss out. But if you rewatch it, don't necessarily pay attention to her, but pay attention to Lan, and you see Lan, like, people, like, Trollocs keep coming at him, and he's just like bouncing around and knocking guys down.
Yeah, absolutely, he is. That's where that because you're trying to figure out what is she doing with the power. She's weaving it all, she's pulling it all in. They almost have to give up because she doesn't know if she can pull in enough power. That was good. You got to show the limitations of the Aes Sedai. I had to show that she was limited in some way. We're gonna have to get some Angreal, some Sangreal, and so on to amplify our Aes Sedai when they need to. And yeah, Matt, I don't know if you heard this. This was one of our comments from, I think it was episode 1. Now, I think it's totally not true, but it's not the first time I've seen it. I've seen a couple comments about this. So some people are asking about Perrin's wife. They're wondering, what was the awkwardness? What was the tension between? Why doesn't she go to Egwene's? Why doesn't she go with the women's circle? Why isn't she there for the ceremony?
Oh,
yeah.
I think she's an outsider. Obviously, to me, I feel like she's definitely an outsider of Emmons Field.
Okay, and I like that. That's why. Okay, I like that, because some people were going, the comment that I saw, and I saw one other comment about this, was that she's a dark friend. I was like, guys,
that I don't know.
Come on, you know, like somebody was like, did you notice that she's a dark friend? I was like, now we're starting to see dark friends everywhere, which I like. Okay, be on the lookout. But that's Perrin's wife. She can't be a dark friend. There ain't no way.
Now, my question was, and I've seen it twice. Was she pregnant?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that they said that. Did they? They didn't say anything about that, but I think that we saw, like, the way he kind of came up and hugged her made it seem like she was.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. There's a really nice shot here. Trying to find it real quick, where they're in bed. She's in her gown. Yeah, she looks, you're right. You can see the outsider bit, all the scars that she has on her arm from the forge, probably, right? I'm guessing. But what an interesting character. We just kind of blew past that so fast. It happens so quickly. And again, I mispronounced her name, Layla, right? Is that
right?
Layla. So yeah, I mean, thought she was cool. That was interesting.
Yeah, I did too. Padan Fain, man, and Matt seem to know each other. Padan Fain's been there quite a bit.
Right. That was one like line where you got the idea that he's been here every year. He comes every year. They've gotten to know each other. They've got a relationship of some kind. And that's cool, because in the book, it's more about him getting that dagger back from Matt. But this seems to be more. They wheel and deal a little bit. Whereas in the book, there was a larger crowd around Padan Fain, and really they just were standing at the back of the crowd listening to the news that he was telling about Gillidan and the false dragon Logain.
Galdon.
Galdon, excuse me.
As they say it in the show. Yeah, Galdon. Yeah, so that was definitely kind of interesting that they have certainly seemingly more of a relationship. Now, I guess my question to you is it Padan Fain who has spread the rumor that there are 4 Taveren there?
Well, yeah, it almost feels like more is known. I'm even trying to think back in the book, like Loyal just can see the signs around them and see and
Right.
understand that they are Taveren. Things are happening around them that are unexplainable. I
And
wonder.
correct me if I'm mistaken, but where we're at in the podcast, on the podcast we do, for anybody that's new, we're going through the books. It's my first time through the books. We just finished book 5. They said the 4 Taveren. Correct me if I'm mistaken. In the books, it's only 3. I don't think we've ever said that Egwene is Taveren in the books, at least to where we're at now.
Correct. That's correct. Yeah. Actually,
now, is that something that will change in the books, or is that something that is it accurate, or is it a showism?
That's so crazy. I can't, like, if I answer it, it's just like, whatever. I don't want to say. I mean, yeah, I think it's.
I think to me, where I'm at in the books, obviously, Egwene
it's a showism
important
for you, right? Because in the books, you're saying I haven't seen it. It would be there through book 5, so we're gonna call it.
No, I've never seen anyone call her that. To me, if you told me that Egwene and Nynaeve are Taveren, it doesn't really change my perception of them at all, because they're incredibly important. Like, it's pretty obvious that they're all important. So I guess I'm okay if you spoil it for me if she is, because it doesn't really do anything different. So I'm wondering if that is a showism or not.
See, and that's it is a showism. She's not Taveren. As far as
yeah.
There are other Taveren though, and there are rumors.
Rumor of 4. Right, and so I guess my question of the rumor of 4 was, is that in the books? And I don't think it is.
Yeah, there is someone. So, gosh, I don't know if
there's somebody else there's somebody else who might be rumored to be one.
Yeah, there are some people who speculate about a couple of different ones. And if you guys want to leave comments about who those individuals are, but there were some in history, right? They often compare Rand, Matt, and Perrin to like Arthur Hawkwing and some other individuals who were Taveren, and that these individuals, that Rand is much stronger. So originally, was there going to be a 4th? There might have been. I don't know. And that, what I didn't get a chance to watch was the making of and some of the behind the scenes stuff here for Robert Jordan. So we can look into that. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
If that was in the draft, that would be awesome.
See, now it's interesting because Moraine talks about how the 4 of you are important, but then the Dark Friend in episode 3 says it's the 5 of you.
Right. Yeah, right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Which would include Nynaeve.
Right. So it's also like, when is that, so you see how things can be communicated through dreams. People can appear and show up and speak to you. So that Dark Friend could be getting live updates about stuff, right? I mean, she knows them. She knows who they are, and she shouldn't. She's never seen them before, but yet she has seen them somewhere else. So
yeah, which is interesting. And we don't, and she was the Dark Friend we see in episode 3. Her story is definitely incredibly interesting because she talks about how she's never left that town, and people just sort of come and go. So I guess at what point would somebody come through that would offer you a path to the darkness that you would decide to choose it and then still stay in that town?
Well, that's the thing. Once you've pledged and you're instructed to do, how does Ez know?
I know
Dark Friends do. You know what I mean? No. I'm not a Dark Friend, but yeah, they have to. They find out that those oaths that they take are a bit more binding than they bargained for. And they pledged.
I did like when she died, and you see the darkness in her blood.
Yeah. 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 So anyway, the Taveren piece is interesting. It wouldn't matter, right? I mean, even if there were, because there's some times where things happen. I know in the books it's much more like when Rand goes into a city, or when some of them things happen, chaos happens, or people get everyone in the town who's engaged or dating all of a sudden gets married, or a lot of deaths happen, or freak accidents happen, things that just happens around them, is I don't know. I don't think we need as much of that, actually.
Right.
Really. I hate to say that, but when I think about the show, I mean, it's cool in the book, but how much of that can they attribute to? I don't know. How much of that are they going to do and play up in the TV series? They're Taveren, meaning they're special, and there's a purpose. They have a greater destiny. I think is about as far as you really need to go with it.
Question here: what if the show wants to go against the first book and make Logain the 5th instead of Nynaeve? Could.
Daggone, Ryan.
Logain is clearly going to be a big part of the story from everything we've seen in the trailers. And I would say even next episode, I think next episode is where he breaks out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Who is, so it's just implied. This is a good point that DK Moon brought up. Like, we say facts. I mean, some of these things there's just rumor. There's rumor of these Taveren. There's rumor, or it's said by a dark friend. Can you trust what's said by a dark friend? That kind of stuff. This is cool. So, we're thinking it's Nynaeve. It wasn't said that it would be, right? And again, we just watched them. So if we're missing something here, you guys leave us a comment, let us know. But I mean, yeah, Logain is clearly important. We think of the Emmons Field 5, and we go right there and we say, yeah, it's got to be, that's what they're talking about. But again, move some pieces around, show us Logain, see what's going on. As you later on in the story, big freaking deal, big connections between him and Nynaeve and stuff. I mean, really interesting stuff happens later on. So
yeah. So I guess we can talk about some of the dynamics. What do we think? Just opening scene.
Yeah.
Opening scene, gentling that male channeler.
Well, the best thing that they did there was to show him running with a companion side by side, and then I think that's Leandrin says,
Yeah.
who are you talking to? There's no one there. And that is cool because this. Who's Rand talking to half the time? Rand's talking to someone up here in the books. No idea. So this person was also talking to someone else and had gone mad, had gone crazy. So Rand's starting to think like, well, that's some of the characteristics that the Red Aja and other Aes Sedai see in men who channel, the craziness or whatever, the madness can come in different forms, maybe. But so some it's like they're talking to someone else, or they see people who aren't there, or maybe they just go to mad rantings. I don't know, stop talking, get withdrawn, go mad or crazy that way. I thought it was cool that they showed it. Again, I don't like the idea of gentling all these men. I think we've got to.
Agreed.
Yeah, but yeah, it was cool for I think viewers to come out there and say, okay, I see something. I understand now that this man was crazy, and most men who channel are crazy, and they could break the world. One of the best things, if you get a chance to go see the X-ray version of, is it X-ray? Yeah, the X-ray bonus.
Yeah, Amazon has this thing where it's X-ray when you're watching, and it'll take you to stuff. And there's bonus content which shows a few histories, and there's like behind the scenes stuff as well.
Yeah, which is really cool. The first one is great. They do a really good job, and it's necessary there to go back and say who was the dragon. And that's cool. Like we're flat out looking for the dragon. One of them is the dragon. The dragon is going to be there at the last battle, and we need this person. So yeah, they do a better job, not a better job, but they expand on it more in that little animation where they talk. It's a I don't know who it is,
3 minute.
Yeah, so one of the Aes Sedai, though, they're talking around a table about what they know from the Age of Legends and the Boar into the Dark One's prison, sealing him away. By the way, if you look at the artwork on that, it looks just like who we're seeing in our dreams. So
yeah. Who I do believe we will see at some point. What about I'm trying to think the biggest sort of surprises? Anything? Is there anything that sort of surprised you? That like you didn't think we'd see, that we saw a little bit earlier maybe than you thought?
Well, what I was gonna go to, what I thought was cool, it's not really a surprise. I was very happy to see the inner workings of the women's circle a little bit, and to see how they operate a little bit, and to understand more about the wind and the wisdom, and getting more details on that, because that's kind of important. What we actually get to see in the books. So you think about this. This is an adaptation. We get Rand's perspective. We get to sit in on the village council. We don't necessarily get to go over to the women's circle and hear from them as much, right? And so in the show, they said, you guys get to see after Padan Fain says what he says, they bring Padan Fain in to the village council. They discuss, the women's circle goes and does their thing. We got to see the other side of that and see kind of what happens there with the women's circle, which we never would have saw before. So that's where, if people are upset about that kind of change, that's the kind of stuff right there that is, we already know what the village council discusses and how they interact in the books. So now you're showing me the women's circle and their traditions, the braiding of the hair. I understand that more. And I understand like how much they value the river, and let the river take you and guide you. They're two rivers folk, right? Remember that? They're two rivers folk. So that was cool. That, and it's not really a surprise, but I was just happy to see more of that and learn something about the wisdom. So
Yeah. I guess I would say, man, the way they're already handling Balsamon in the dreams is
mhm.
like crazy awesome. And the
Yeah.
dark one, like the dark one feels more menacing in the show in three episodes than he does by the end of book 5.
Yeah. Right. Because we really get to see him. We get to see him invading their dreams. Then we see the after effect of bats and scorched kind of ground and all of that. So yeah, seems more menacing. We don't really know much. I mean, I think we're going to keep seeing him more and more, and we're going to learn more about it. We're going to have to. Moraine needs to learn once she wakes back up. See, the big thing is Moraine has been knocked out of
She's
it, and
right.
she's the one who will see those warnings and those signs and say, "That's bad. That's really bad, and here's what it means." And so that's going to come out more so, I think, in the White Tower as we, next couple episodes.
Dreams are more powerful than you know.
Right. The dream world is huge. How often, I mean, like, my God, we are in Teleron Riyadh all the time in the books. We're always communicating, stepping in and out of there. We have great battles there. It's freaking nuts. So good to introduce it early, I say.
Yeah, let me see here. Kind of skipping ahead a little bit. How do you feel they are going to explain Perrin's gifts to him without the Elias character they seem to have removed? Also, how is Moraine going to track them without the coins? See, the second question, I think that they said we're all going to Tarvalin, and the fact that we know we're not going to get Camelin in the show,
Hmm.
I think they're all just going to end up meeting back in Tarvalin kind of at the same time. I think it's just the easy way to do that. And how are they going to explain Perrin's gifts? I think that Elias is just his sort of role is going to get moved to somebody else, or maybe an Elias character comes in season 2 and it gets explained further there. I don't know that we have to explain all the wolf stuff this season. I mean, in the books, it's like book 4 before you really get some answers about the Perrin and the wolf, the wolves. So it's probably going to be pushed back a bit.
Yeah, exactly. They don't necessarily need to do it right now, and you could just show a bunch of stuff going on with wolves and see that they're okay. Well, they guided parent, like lay a bunch of breadcrumbs here in the beginning that are going to pay off for show watchers in season 2, right? And that would be cool to see that. Yeah, someone's going to show up, and because we need to learn more about warders, more about Taveren. There's still a lot of things we need to learn, and it's actually kind of abrupt in the books, right? He just shows up and this man literally says to him, "Oh, you can talk to them."
Right.
It's one of the things I said in the book club is that Robert Jordan just trusts the reader. Go with it. Just go with it. He just throws it at you and says, "Yep, this is a new thing. We're rolling with it." Whereas they're wanting to try to get people to speculate and see the connections and lay a better kind of like a ramp that runs into that conversation with an Elias like figure. And they're doing it right now, which is good.
Yeah, David says I was honestly expecting that the dreams would be something that would get cut from the show adaptation. Yeah, I don't know that I will say I don't know that we're gonna do as much in the dream world. I mean, it's not for a while that we do it anyway, so we'll have to see. I think that you can actually use the dreams to sort of explain a lot of stuff, especially with like loose Theron, just like some of that, like the entire prologue chapter, I feel like could just be a dream that Rand has. And I think you can actually use it to speed along a lot of stuff that happens with some of these characters, especially like a lot of the dreams I think you could really shift to one dream in a season, essentially. So we'll have to see, but I don't know that we'll do all the dream world stuff as much.
Yeah, not really sure what they're gonna do with that. I mean, yeah, because it was a great way to kind of communicate across long distances and fill in. I mean, definitely not in it comes later, but that's a really interesting question. How are they going to do all the Teleron Riyadh stuff? The meetings, they meet there all the time in the books, and that's how it seems like the show could do that, because just like in Game of Thrones, you've got people in Westeros and over in Essos. Well, if we want those characters, if those characters do talk in the books, how are they going to do that? Maybe just not as much. It'll still be there, but maybe not as much. I see. Yeah.
Is there anything that you saw that you thought would get cut but wasn't?
That I saw that I thought would get cut. No, I'm just kind of clicking through first episode here. No, man, because I think they made a lot of change. They're still slightly different changes. It was almost more like I was surprised by how
What's
they
there?
rearranged. Yeah. And then how they rearranged it and how they still told the story. One thing that was cut that was interesting was the fever dream by Tam mumbling.
Yes.
Right. So that was something that was cut that I wish, or that I think like, oh, okay, Rand dwells on that for a long time and he thinks about, oh, my father knew something. Right. And I guarantee they filmed it and they just on the cutting board said we don't have room or time for it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things.
Yeah, they did. So they did sort of explain it. At least already put in our minds there's something weird about Rand. Which is honestly like could be the title of the first like 2 books. Is there something weird with Rand?
Right. Yeah.
Because when we see the Aiel and the Aiel has that color hair, and Tom Maryland says to Matt, "Oh, that's like that hair color you don't typically see this way. You don't see outside of the Borderlands." And it zooms in on it, and it's the exact same hair color as Rand, that red.
Right. So that's there. Yeah. One thing. So we got to see this sort of Beltane. Well, it's sort of Beltane, but it's their. They get the lamps and they put all the lamps in the river, and Rand and his father hang a lamp for their for Rand's mom, for Tam's wife, Carrie Althor. And that was cool to see that, and to see them remembering and thinking back to ages. Time. This is a wheel of time, and so understanding that history and lore matter, and that there was a reference to about being born again and souls coming and going and coming back. And someone said, I don't know if it was Rand who might have asked the question, like, how long until we are born back again into the world? You know, would you even remember your previous life? Is it thousands of years ago, or is it 3,000 years ago? Like, how long? So yeah, stuff like that was interesting.
Here's a question from Kevin. He says, in episode 1, was Perrin's wife trying to kill him? She had her weapon above her head when he turned around, not a book reader. Yeah, at first I was like, wait, what was she doing? I think she was just, it's hard to tell because Perrin is like just really wailing on that Trolloc. And it's almost like she comes around the corner, but then he sort of turns because he's just like, he's in the zone. I mean, and so I almost feel like she was just coming around the corner because she couldn't see.
I'm watching it right now. So it's weird too. Like if she is a dark friend, she would be. So that's what people are getting at, which is why is she acting so strange? When Perrin comes in, she lays her head back against him. He's holding her stomach. And she seems like Matt said, she's just, to him, it felt like she was just an outsider. Like she wasn't someone who had been welcomed yet, maybe into the women's circle, or didn't go out there for that reason. There was a bitterness. There was something going on. She was out foraging. And yeah, I think she was just coming to like knock a Trolloc out and help her husband.
Right.
But that's what I really thought. I didn't think it was anything more than that. But I think it's because there's a strangeness. There's a when you watch it, she is mad. She is out there intense. Something's wrong. When you first show up there, they can see it in her face. Her jaw's kind of quivering, and she's upset
Maybe
about
she's just
something.
Maybe she's trying to make money. She's out there working, and Perrin's
Maybe
out there
she's
drinking.
maybe, man.
She's in the forge, working hard, and I think she's pregnant with it. I don't remember that
Totally.
they specifically. I can't remember that does he specifically say it.
I was gonna listen here.
It just looked to me like the way he kind of grabbed her was almost like, the way you kind of grab,
right,
like the behind the hug, thing.
right.
And so if that's the case, then it's like, hey, I'm in here working for our family, and you're out there,
right, and where he
playing dice,
right. The way he kills her too accidentally,
right there too
implies that
more.
yeah, a child couldn't be saved, So,
Right.
gosh, man. And they did a good job too of showing us that Moraine gets tired using the power, and that you can only
she
do
used
so
a lot
much.
of it. I
She
mean,
did.
it's not like she just uses one thing. I mean, she uses a lot of it. She acts a bit weird. Wolves attack her body in a dream too. Several hints she may be a dark friend.
Wow. That's what people are saying, man.
We should go back and look at the blood, because remember when you see the blood of the dark friend in episode 3, there's like blackness in it.
Yeah.
I'm actually trying, because it's hard to tell because it's so dark there.
Right. It's so dark. Yeah. God, she does have a hammer though. She is using the hammer hardcore.
Right. See, I don't know. See, I guess
he has an axe.
I guess if it turns out that she's a dark friend, then it sort of like can take Perrin off the hook a bit, right? And like, well, she was a dark friend, and maybe she was the one that told the Trollocs and all that stuff. But then that kind of goes against the idea that they would just know that they're important and they need to chase them down anyway. Okay. But I don't know that you need any of that for Perrin, because I could just like, dude, it's an accident. It's a total accident.
I am now though. I just watched it again. For anybody who wants to pull it up silently and just do a click through, go look at her, buddy. She's bringing that thing down. It looks like, because his back is turned. The Trolloc is in front of him, and he's already killed it. He's hit it probably 6 or 7 times in the face with his axe. And as he turns around, there's no one there, and she has it raised above her head, coming down.
Let me pull it up here.
Coming down on him. Now that's interesting. So, full on prediction. I can't believe this. So I take back what I said. Let's go tinfoil here. Matt, she became a dark friend. Hold on here. She became a dark friend. She pledged to get close to this man and to kill him, but she fell in love with him, and she's having his child. And now the only way she can save her child is to follow through. Like it's either I'm going to kill your child, or I'm going to or you're going to kill your husband. You know what I mean?
Right, I'm watching the scene right here. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Take your time. I'm going to keep talking. You go do your thing here. Friends, leave me a comment here on this. And if you have a chance to go check this out, it's episode 1. Go look at this again. She's using the hammer. He's using the axe.
She does, and she is almost like she's standing there. It's hard. It's still hard to tell a bit, because
the way she's got that is well above her head, like she's coming right down on top of him. And again, not that he wanted to kill her. He didn't even know she was doing that, or what her positioning was. She might have just been coming in for a kill blow over top of his shoulder on top of the Trolloc. But Jack's a bit weird. Yeah, wolves attack her body in dream too. Several hints. They do. Let me go
Maybe she
back.
is, man.
Yeah, and here's what I'm thinking: the child thing, and again, full tinfoil foil theory there. Um, Inktar Matt agrees in the book to be a dark friend because he saw no other way, or something. Yeah, could. Oh, here's a good comment. Yeah, could be Taveren saving Perrin. Could be that he randomly, yeah, swings
Yeah, it's
that
hard to
axe
tell,
back.
man. It's really hard to tell. I just watched the scene again. It's really hard to get anything out of it other than she's standing there. But again, if she's coming around, if she's coming around the corner, it's hard to, you might have it raised.
Well, and again, if you're show creators, you don't want it to be obvious. You definitely wouldn't want something like
Exactly.
that to be obvious. You'd want to bury it and hide it. Now, I'm going to go back here because I think they're right. I'm looking at that dream sequence. I thought something was wrong, and all of her stares look very distant. She looks like she's deep in
Right.
thought and troubled by something.
Right.
So,
But what if, because in episode 2, Perrin, the wolves come to Perrin and they lick him, right?
mhm,
And then they walk
mhm.
by. So what if right now he's viewing the wolves as a sort of aggressive part of his nature? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like right now he doesn't know what's going on with the wolves, but that could be that could be part of it.
Right. It could be. It
Maybe
could
he's
be.
viewing himself as a wolf and he's, you know,
Right. This is fascinating. I guess at first I saw the wolves and I just thought she was strange and something was going on, but now that I saw her bringing that hammer down on him, there's more than one piece of evidence. Before I thought it was just one thing and you could kind of
right.
dismiss it, but now I'm thinking, there's more going on here, and it's the dream I want to see. So here it is. Um, wow, Matt. When wolves attack you, you're no, it's normally not a good thing because the wolves ally themselves with Perrin, so they're his protectors.
Right.
He's a freaking wolf king, man. Um,
When I first
so
saw it, when I first saw it, I thought that it was her doing the same thing as Perrin, turning to attack. But I could definitely be convinced with what you're saying about, especially with Wolverine. Yeah, I could be too. I think I need a little more information to go off of. See, because then I guess my question is, does it ruin that if she's a
does it
dark
ruin what?
friend?
Does it
Because the
ruin what?
moment, the moment is impactful because Perrin accidentally kills his wife
Mhm,
while he was aggressively. I mean, he was the Trollocs dad, but he's still going to town. It's like very aggressive, right? Um, type of a thing. And so in his sort of rage, not just fighting to defend himself, he's now in like rage. He turns and strikes his wife.
mhm.
So to me, that goes more in line with his decision of the hammer versus the axe, right? The way of the leaf and this pacifist different lifestyle and that tension he has. More so, if I think if it turns out she's a dark friend, then then it justifies his actions, even though it was still in a moment of rage.
Yeah, I think yeah. I think too, though, it could be she's a yeah, this is gonna sound strange to say, a good sort of dark friend in that, like, she made this pledge beforehand, and she's a dark friend that just loves her husband, but then finds out she has to kill her husband. You know what I mean? Like, made the pledge long ago, put it
Right.
off, struggled with it. By the way, if anyone can find a timestamp for that, that wolf dream, I would love to see it. Right now, I have
In
it up
episode
here if
in
you guys.
episode 3, in episode 3, it's probably early to the first third of the episode because it's they're running and then they make the fire and then Perrin falls asleep and then so it's well before they meet the Tuathawan
Okay,
because
okay.
it's when they make that fire. So that's got to be early to mid episode 3 because they escape Shadar Logoth in episode 2.
Okay. Oh, I guess if I can track it down. And then, yeah, wow, just I dismissed it. I just yeah, I dismissed it.
Right. Yeah, let me see here. It could be setting up an emo parent and taking the place of killing the White Cloaks after they kill Hopper. Yep. again, that's what I ultimately think this is all for. Is that. And I think him killing his wife is a way for them to sort of cut past like a lot of his family dying in the Shadow Rising before he has his stare down when he tells the White Cloaks off.
Yeah, I guess. Well, here it is. Here's the dream sequence. I'm watching it right now. My question for friends as I watch this is, are there any other content creators talking about this and whether or not what are they saying about this idea?
I think the show could have made it a little clearer to the watcher. The raised hammer is quick, easy to miss. Yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I was at, because, and I've watched it twice, just because it's immediate turnaround. You barely see her, so it's almost like he turns around and hits her, and then you realize, wait, she had her hammer raised, not the other way around. Like so. It's interesting. It's good. It's cool, and this is what we want. We want it to be stuff that we have to talk about and think about. And
here's the other thing too. This is a dream. The dream I'm watching right now is it's the dark one is presenting this, right? I mean, so it could also be something that's distorted a little bit, right? Even though what we know in the books is sometimes what the conversations they had with Baalzamon were real. Yeah, there's a freaking wolf eating her.
Yes. Right where he cut her. Right where he cut her too.
Right. Holy smokes. I don't know, man. Yeah, the more I look at that, I'm thinking now that could just be the dark one messing with him, but the Dusty Will spoke about it last night. What did they say? Well, I wonder what the Dusty Will said about this, because again, I that's cool. It's not cool. I know Matt says, maybe you could take away from that. I wish there was a way somehow where we could have an Ingtar moment where it was like there was no chance. Like she was a dark friend long ago, and then she found Perrin, and then wishes she wouldn't have went down that path. But then they got pregnant. She never thought that she'd be called upon to use. Because Matt, you can be a dark friend and just do it as a kid for fun, right?
Exactly.
It's something like don't do, and then she does it, but yet, oh my God.
They even have socials.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. So this is they think it has merit, but could also be a talking point thrown to the community. Well, it's definitely working. Dusty Will had vote 60 to 7% think. I think said Dark Friend. There you go. That's why we do these things, because that is some stuff right there. That is a whole thing. They didn't go quite that in depth, but still, I'm honestly kind of convinced. I'm kind of convinced now, because you could do something in dreams or with a letter that was left, or someone else knew. One of the Forsaken tells Perrin something and they use it against him, or maybe it's nothing, but yet they're going to try and make him think that she was, I don't know. Again, it's still his child, and she could be protecting the child. There's a lot of angles here, a lot of stuff.
There's a lot you can do. There's a lot of things you could do with it.
Wow, went down through a portal stone right there, my friend. We went through a portal stone, and good God.
Yeah. So question to our viewers here. How many times have you guys watched it?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, because man, I'm doing a click through now. I watched episode 1 earlier again, and 2 I just did kind of. It's episode 1 and 2, or I'm sorry, 1 and 3 that I liked the most. So I really got into them and rewatched those. I need to go back and rewatch 2. I've been doing a lot of editing and just taking screenshots so we can do some content here on Heroes of the Horn. But yeah, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. How many times did you watch
it? 3 times.
Okay, there we go. Nice.
Let me see here. They didn't make it so clear. They think they didn't make it clear so Perrin feels the guilt. Exactly. That's 100% where I'm at. 100% of on where I'm at on that is that it's to make Perrin feel guilty.
Yeah. So we got Kevin just once finished literally less than an hour ago.
I'm rewatching it again tonight after we're done with the stream. I'm watching it again because Teresa hasn't watched it yet, and she's like, she just texted me. She's like, should I watch it? I'm like, no. I was
Right,
like,
yeah.
wait for me.
Wait for yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because I haven't watched it on. We have a projector.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've watched it on my PC monitor, which is like 30 inches, and I watched it on my Mac as I was doing stuff this morning, which is like 13, but it's like it's a nice, Retina screen or whatever. But I've yet to watch it on the projector, because Cowboy Bebop came out this weekend too,
Yeah.
and so I'm like, oh, I gotta blitz through it, and it's all out on Netflix. I only watched the first episode, so there's a lot of content to watch this week, and Ez and I are creating a lot of content. And
Yeah.
then we're doing a Game of Thrones. We're doing a Game of Thrones live stream on Sunday. It's crazy, crazy times.
With Gray Area, who I think
Area.
is she not into? I think she's mentioned Wheel
We
of Time.
talked to her. Remember, we talked to her about it, and we asked her, and I think she said she hadn't checked it out, but maybe
I think I've been seeing her on Twitter talk more about like, oh, what is this? I might go watch this. So what do you guys think? So sort of thing. So we'll talk to her about that and see maybe if she's really into it. Be kind of cool to have her thoughts on it. Now,
and there's some other people we need to bring on. And quick reminder: tomorrow we are doing another Wheel of Time live stream. And if you're in our patron tier, if you're one of our heroes of the horn, you guys get to come on and chat with us, because we want to chat like directly to you guys. So make sure to check that out, because that's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah. So two things. First of all, you're watching with Teresa. I'm going to watch it with Lottie because she wants to see it. When we did the trailer reaction, she was like, "Oh, this looks awesome." I'm like, "Yeah, right. It looks great." And that was just the trailer, and now I've seen it. I'm like, "Holy smoke!" She asked me what I thought. I was like, "Guys, like, go watch Matt and I talk about this." Our initial reaction, we freaking lost our minds. I mean, the energy we felt was more than just like
insane.
It was authentic. It was really about the show being like, oh, this is good.
I wish that, and I know that you have some of yours recorded. I wish that I had recorded my reaction, because so much of the hype was because it dropped earlier than we expected. Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm like clicking. I'm like, oh my God, like, let me get it. So let me explain. I'll explain the story, because I think it's worth telling. So, I took today off work. I like scheduled it months ago, because I was like, all right, I'm taking the day off work, as scheduled the day off work. And our plan was to watch it at like midnight Pacific, which is typically when Disney releases stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, okay, whatever. Ez is gonna get up at 3 a.m. I'll be up at midnight. I'm gonna come home, whatever, take a nap. And so I call him on my home, and I was like, all right, dude, what are we gonna like? Let's plan this out, get it going. I gotta stop at the store real quick. And I was like, but I have seen some people saying this might release earlier. And he's like, I know. That's what I'm seeing too. He's like, so Ez had to look up what 12 a.m. GMT thought. He thought it was Grand Mountain Time.
Mm-hmm.
And turns out it's Greenwich Mean Time.
Well,
I knew that, but Ez did, right?
I mean, I was kind of joking, but Grand Mountain Time seemed like Dragon Mount to me, buddy. So it's the Dragon Mountain like,
hey,
perfect time,
Rand Mountain Time. They should change it.
Right.
I mean, be respectful. Okay.
Gain Mountain Time. What the heck's wrong with you?
Whatever.
Gain, buddy. Hey, Gain right now is proclaiming himself to be the dragon. So
we don't know that.
Yeah. At the end, he like it was said that he was someone.
They said, yeah, somebody else said it. He did not specifically say it, but
I'm waiting for him to say it.
But anyway, so we go to the store. I call as I'm on the phone with him. I'm like, all right, dude, I gotta grab like literally, it's just like rice, milk, like a few things.
Right.
Not rice milk, but rice and milk. Rice milk itself is gross.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I get like some popcorn and whatever. And so then I come home, and it's like, all right, we're going live, we're chatting a little bit, and then it goes live, and it's like, oh my God, and we're like freaking out. And so I'm watching it. I'm like super pumped. I think I was also eating a bunch of like, I got this like popcorn. I got the bag right here.
Let's go.
It's like M&M popcorn. I don't know. It wasn't very good. Not gonna lie.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely won't buy again. But so I'm like sugar rushed. I had a huge coffee. The caffeine's flowing. The excitement is flowing. When Tam Althor is fighting the Trolloc and goes and gets the Heron Mark blade, I stood up in my chair right here. Thankfully, no one else was home. And I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
I lost my mind.
Oh, yeah. That was so good. I just kept saying,
I lost it. I was like, I should have recorded it.
Yeah. Half of my reaction was like, someone do something. Someone do something. Like, they're killing people. The Trollocs, what I thought was most impressive about the Trollocs were Matt could take their finger and just swat, and bam, you were gone against like a wall or a shed, and just broken and stuff. I'm like, jeez, cow. So that was pretty intense. And then I thought for sure someone's gonna come save Nynaeve and Egwene. They were on their own, and it really shows you that like their lives are at risk here, and everyone, this town, so many people were killed, and they had a whole army coming. They all would have been wiped out and annihilated if they would not have hit the road and gotten out of there. And what's really cool is we know from the books, just a kind of spoiler, if you're not to this part in the books, but there's a reason they can get into the two rivers so quickly. There's a special gate that's open that they can get through. Crazy hidden things, you know?
Yes.
Wild. So that's kind of cool. And it's just like how did they get here so fast? And book readers are going, oh my God. They know, and the show watchers might just think, okay, that was the second wave of army coming or whatever. But then you start to flash out. And by the way, there's a great map too, that interactive map shows you the Westlands, and just shows you where everything's at and how difficult it would be to get from the Blight all the way through all those kingdoms. How do you get through all those kingdoms and then show up in the two rivers? So that's something for folks to look into too.
Yeah. So here's a question. So we know that Rosamund Pike had talked about, and this was after, I'm trying to remember, maybe it's the director, it's about episode 6 and 7. We know we're supposed to get some mega battles. And remember there was like comments said about like best budget I've ever been on. And remember, Rosamund Pike has been in some big movies. I mean, she was in not the second one, Wrath of the Titans. That's the second one, right? Okay. It's got Liam Neeson and stuff like that. Yeah. And then she was a Bond villain. She wasn't necessarily a Bond girl. She was a Bond villain. But I mean, like, I know the budget's now or whatever. I mean, so to say that thing is like a grand scale thing, and we just saw her wreck a bunch of Trollocs, I'm ready for some sort of like open field mega battle, power flying everywhere. I'm down.
Well, yeah, exactly. Get a few more of them together and have some of those sisters together, and we'll see it. Well, here's the thing: we saw Tarwin's Gap. I mean, they showed us that in the trailer, so we're going there. Like, we're gonna see all this stuff happen. They'll be going to defend it. They're asking, will the Golden Crane ride again? Like, Lan is there,
just like the dragon.
Yeah, just like the dragon. And by the way, have you seen the way that Lan looks at Rand?
Yes.
Whoa. Oh my God.
I do like, yes, they've definitely started that. They've also started the Nynaeve Lan confrontation, and they've definitely started. I think the way that when Rand tells Moraine off, the way she kind of looks at him is great, because they've already started Rand's I will not be controlled.
Yes, they have. That's the dragon spirit, man. It's the dragon spirit. Or is it? I don't know, but it's cool. I'm glad.
It is definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say that the character who feels the most different from their book counterpart is Matt.
Yeah. Yes, he does. And also his family. That is such a curveball. I tell you what, episode 1 got me all sorts of tingles, emotions, teary-eyed feels. And I felt like, oh my God, it made me sick to my stomach to see like a mother, a wife that distraught about being humiliated and stuff, and Matt not knowing what to do with it, man. I mean, that's hard stuff right there.
Do we have any idea? I gotta look this up. Do we have any idea why Barney Harris left?
No, I don't know. If you guys have heard anything, leave us a comment or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I think a part of me doesn't really want to know. Part of me is just sort of like, it could be everything from mental health to just changing actors, and saying, which that last bit is hard for me to believe because he did such a good job. He's so good. He's so good. And that's not to say the guy who's playing him, who's in like 10 seconds of The Witcher. Sure.
And they say like, oh, he's from Witcher fame. I
He'll
guess.
do a great job. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know that. I haven't seen
I'm sure
anything. Right. I hope he does. But it's just Barney Harris is so good as Matt, and it's like I can totally see him as like the Matt that we will know he will become.
Yeah. Yeah, and he also looked a lot like the fan art too, and he had that kind of long, lanky kind of build and everything. And
I think though that the other guy who's playing him, to me, he looks a little bit. I would say that the Matt that we know that becomes like with he gets the hat and like the coat and like the long I think that guy looks a little closer to Matt Cawthon than Barney Harris.
Yeah.
But I mean, okay. I think they both look like him. I think it's both going to be great.
Yeah. Let's see here. Nothing on Barney as
that's what I've seen. I feel like if it was like, something troubling, that would come out. Like he'd be fired for specific reasons. Yeah. It could be just living situations. I mean, Rosamund Pike's talked about how she moved her kids to Croatia. Like they moved her family to Croatia to do this whole thing.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. So I love it. So far that's been really cool and interesting. I kind of get why they've done this stuff with Perrin and Matt, because we just pick up from Rand, his perspective in the books, that this is how Matt is, this is how Perrin is, and now we get to kind of see that through their Perrin's wife and then through Matt's parents. So this is a lot.
So I will say I did talk to my mom earlier today, who had just watched like the first 5 minutes of it. And it's always funny because I love talking to my mom about stuff because she's just she's a binger. I mean, binger. Like, I mean, it's like I'll be like, oh hey, I saw this cool new show. She's like, I already seen it. I was like, yeah. She's like, I started on Monday, finished on like Wednesday.
Right. Done.
Do you sleep? Like, what? Like, right. How's it going? Anyway, so she watched the first like 10 minutes and she was like, hey, who's that tall Asian guy? Just like, okay, here we go. It's so funny. Just so funny. So ridiculous.
Yeah, Land's great. There's something too.
I think he's the best. I think he's the best casting.
Yeah, he is really good. I haven't really thought much to it because they all kind of just feel.
They all feel great, but to me, he is like. He is the most just, and it's because like the other people they just wear sort of like regular clothes, whereas like he wears something rather specific. I know Moraine does as well. And you know what? Let's go ahead and say it. Blouse's, not a big deal.
No, right? No, exactly.
But again, that's the thing, and that's what I was critical of those early shots we were getting was you gave us a terrible clip out of context. Like Moraine just opening her eyes. I still now that I've even seen the whole scene, I think it was stupid. I think it was I still think it was a stupid clip to show.
Yeah,
as a teaser.
And the thing is too, at that point in time, they know they only are dealing with book fanatics in a small fandom, because then once they started really dropping their promotional stuff, it looked good. So that early stuff was just, they weren't ready for any of that stuff. They were just, it's crazy. They were just doing that simply for book fan service and for some fuel for the content creators. That's all they were doing, because you look at the promotional stuff leading up to it. The last month and a half, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So
absolutely great.
But
so all right, as well, I think we're slowing down here a little bit in the chats and everything. We'll do one last one here. So from Hawkthorn 33, had a thought with Rand being stubborn, considering it was 2 chapters of building our Aes Sedai, good or bad. I think they're trying to shoehorn in the doubt. Definitely. I think we'll get more of that in episode 4, especially since we're going to be spending some more time with Tom Maryland. I definitely think that as well.
Yeah, agreed. That's a good point. And it's just it's all the way in which you do it and the way you move stuff around. And it's to me, it's always seemed like an impossible. I can't imagine how many ideas they pitched around on, like, between Rafe and the writers, and where do you incorporate that idea with Rand and casting some doubt on Aes Sedai. We can't do it too early, or do we? Or we have to use Tom Maryland, but we're moving Tom Maryland over here. It's okay. We'll do it later. Lots of different conversations that would probably have our heads spinning. So I'm happy to sit back and just say, what did they do? And so far, my last big thing, I have 3 episodes. We have seen 3 episodes. I'm so glad they gave us 3. If they would have just gave us 1, I would have been blown away too. But I got to calm down and soak up more of the experience. And then that third, I think more
to suck you into the world.
Yeah, I think more of them should do that. Even like Mandalorian and some of the other shows. God,
Well,
that's not a bad
Disney
idea.
does. So like Disney does. Uh, Disney has typically done with the Mandalorian is you get like an episode. Remember, we would get an episode. I think it was like we had an episode on Tuesday and then another one on Friday, which I think is good because it gives you time to sort of get gripped into the world by getting just a little bit more. You don't. It's always a hit or miss. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I like Netflix's style, which is just dump the whole thing.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I kind of like this
Oh, I love
because
this. Yeah,
it kind of makes it harder to cover because I'm gonna cover Cowboy Bebop and then The Witcher is coming and I'm gonna cover it too over on my video game channel. And it's hard because it's like, what do we do? How do you record it? Do you do one episode? Do you do 8 episodes? Do you
right. Well,
Yeah.
and really, even outside of being content creators, I think as just a fan, when we were watching Game of Thrones, boy, it was an event. It was a watch.
Right.
Get everybody over Sunday night, order a pizza, get all this. Then it was Monday morning. Like it really, actually, what I love about TV shows like this is it affects the work week and it makes the work week better. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because like honestly, buddy, this morning I went in. I had some stuff to do. Since it came out last night on Thursday, I decided to actually go in for an hour or two, get some stuff done, hit the gym, do some different things this morning. And I'm in there seeking out like my assistant principal, people at the building who have watched it and who are into the show. And I know that conversation, the ones I didn't get to, guess what? Monday is going to come around. I'm going to follow right back up with them and say, what'd you guys think? That's what I love about this style of drop, So yeah.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, with that, hey, remember, we will be back on tomorrow, which will be the 20th, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, sometime Grand Mountain time. And if you are we're going to bring on our patrons. So if you're in our patron tier, be sure to check that out. Come and hang out. Maybe nobody shows up, but Ez and I will still talk regardless. But yeah. we want to get you guys, definitely want to give you guys an opportunity to come on the show and talk. And we want to talk with you directly. So be sure to check that out. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. And remember that the grave is no bar to our call.